you,
Ikechukwu
Patience.
Ikeji. Thank you
You
for
are
joining
really
us
getting
again.
me flattered there. I will take that in my stride and
Although
walk
we
towards
are
that.
discussing a very unflattering issue right now. Also joining us on the show is the Deputy General Secretary for the United Labour Congress, Comrade Chris Oyenka. Good morning, Comrade. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right.
Gentlemen.
Okay, so we're discussing the ongoing strike. On my way to work, I already saw some people, you know, carrying placards and all of that. I mean, which shows that there's seriousness of purpose in all of this. But let me direct this question to you, Comrade. This particular strike is bothering on virtually almost all the sectors, although there are 4 critical sectors in this: the oil and gas, aviation sector, telecommunications, and even the, what's it called, electricity, yeah, sector. But also you're touching on education, because you're also championing the cause of ASU in all of this. So this is going to grind to a halt, you know, the entity called Nigeria. Do you think we actually need this at this time?
If you look at our press statements for the past 2 months, we have said that this is a painful decision. And we had asked the federal government to ensure that it does not get to this level. And you know, there has to be sacrifices that have to be made by all to ensure that governance, you know, it's more responsive, it's more responsible. And so we felt that that ought to be the last resort. And we actually wanted it to be the very, very last resort. And we had restrained ourselves seriously, even up till midnight this morning. I have not slept. If you look at me, I have not slept. I've been making calls, in conference calls all over the Federation. And we want to make sure that it doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, the federal government insisted on forcing us to embark on this strike. It's an unfortunate thing, but that's a price Nigerians have to pay for us to become better as a nation. The petroleum sector, unfortunately, will be grounded. The electricity sector, unfortunately, will be grounded. And the aviation sector will be affected. You know, though all the unions in the aviation sector are not our affiliates, there are 4 unions in the aviation sector, but 2 of the unions belong to the United Labour Congress of Nigeria. And so, all these...
Can we put off that phone a bit? Yeah. You can continue talking. Just keep on talking.
All these will be involved in what we're talking about. All these sectors will be grounded. And so, what you begin to see, that as a strike took effect this morning, before this evening and tomorrow, you will begin to see, you are beginning to notice scanty vehicular traffic.
Yes.
Very soon you will begin to notice that the filling stations will no longer operate, because the filling stations are members, they are members of NUPENG, who are the affiliates of ULC. And then you begin to find out that the filling stations will no longer operate. You begin to find out that you can't get fuel. You begin to find out that the flights will not take off because they are not receiving fuel, aviation fuel, and so they cannot fly. So you begin to see all this spread across Nigeria. It's unfortunate. If the federal government allows you to continue, by tomorrow, by next tomorrow, then the effect will become deeper. And then it will come to a state where nothing would be happening in this country. That would be unfortunate if federal government allows it to get to that level.
All right, we'll still talk more about the effect of the Fed and other sectors joining, because NUBIFE, that's the National Union of Bankers and other financial institutions, are saying they are not part of the strike. But let me now bring...
Can I correct that impression?
Please.
Okay.
NUBIFE has not said that.
Okay.
There is a renegade group sponsored by Ayuba and Boboy Kaigama, including the federal government. An election was conducted on Friday last week. That renegade group lost the election. They lost because the one that was contesting as president had written the union in January 2017 that he is no longer a member of the union. He wrote it in black and white. He gave it to the union. He also caused his management to withhold the takeoff dues belonging to the union for almost 9 months. And so he is not a legitimate member of the union. He is he is a businessman. You cannot get anybody from anywhere to come and become an officer in a union that he does not belong to. Okay. The letters are there cleared. And so what Ayuba and co did was to go and bring him to come and pose as president of... The president of NUBIFE is Danjuma Musa, and the general secretary is Sheikh Mohammed. Both of them are the only ones that are bona fide leaders of NUBIFE, and the only one that can speak. I have been in discussions with them since yesterday night, and they have issued compliance letters to their members all over Nigeria.
So our banks shut down now?
Banks are beginning to shut down.
Okay.
Because what we do is that we do a gradual, it's a gradual thing. We don't want to go full blast. It's like in Nupeng and the electricity sector. There are some machines you shut down. It will take a week or 2 weeks to bring it back to life.
Okay, we'll still come back to you, Mr. Onyeka. Barrister, I want to just get all the legal implications to all of this. Since the federal government is insisting that ULC is not recognized, according to them, according to the federal government, it is not registered. What are the legal implications, I mean, as regards this strike? Is it actually legal?
Well, you see, unions are not given legitimacy by recognition.
Okay.
Their legitimacy is internal, not external. We must get that very clear. Government may not recognize a union. Government may not recognize a federation of unions, but that does not mean that that union is not legally in existence. That is why we have to separate it. Yes, the minister has announced that they do not recognize the ULC, but ULC is given legitimacy by its affiliate unions. And the law states in some of the sections of the law that the minister and NLC have been citing, section 35 of the Trade Union Act. I have it here. There's one particular subsection that they have been using. I would address that now. You see, if you look at that section 35, subsection 2 of it, I will still attack the section that they'll be hampering on. But let me now address this. Okay. Subsection 2 says, upon receipt of an application as required by subsection 1 of this section, the registrar shall within 90 days, if satisfied that all requirements with respect to the registration of Federation of Trade Unions have been met, register the federation concerned, and evidence of such registration with the issuance of a certificate of registration. Now, the question here is, has the ULC satisfied the conditions that would make it compulsory? Because the word that is used here is shall. If the registrar is satisfied, so there are two conditions. I mean, there are two issues here. Shall, a compulsion, and if, a conditional. Now, the if there can now be related back to subsection 1, which is the subsection that listed all the requirements. So it's just like the registration of political parties. The law we know about registration of political parties is, if you satisfy the requirements of what a political party should be, INEC has no right not to register you. Even though the court, even though the law says that INEC shall issue you a certificate, yet it has been held that INEC has no right to refuse, to withhold it, so long as you've satisfied the law.
But Barrister, let me butt in here. That lacuna, the loophole in that particular section of the Constitution can work both ways, if you understand what I mean. It can also work on the part of the government.
You are very correct.
And they can leverage on that.
My job here is to get the different narratives. We have seen the narrative of the government. So my own job here is also to bring out the other side of the narrative. Their narrative is that they have not registered this organization, and therefore it's not recognized. So that is out there. My own narrative now is to also show the other side. Why the registrar of trade union has a compulsory obligation. The word is used, shall issue a certificate to the ULC. Okay. That's the narrative I want to create here, because we already know the narrative of the government. And what are those issues that would get a Federation of Union will meet and will be required, will have been will qualify them, yes, to have been qualified. Okay. Subsection 1A says its main objective is to represent the interests of employees. Is the main objective of ULC to represent the interest of its employees? The answer would determine the success of that subparagraph. Okay. Subparagraph B, it is made up of 12 or more trade unions, none of which shall have been a member of another registered federation of trade unions. Subsection B, that is where the Ayuba Waba is holding on to. I heard him say it. That if you read it, he said, shall have been. Now, let's put it in context. Because all of that, I'm sure ULC should have satisfied them. For example, it has been established by resolution of national delegates. It has adopted a name that does not resemble the name of another trade union. It has adopted a constitution and rules. Its head office is in Nigeria, and it has submitted an application to the registrar. I'm sure ULC has satisfied all this.
Okay.
Now, this one, it is made up of 12 or more trade unions, none of which shall have been a member of another registered federation of trade unions. Interpretation of statutes simply says that you use literal interpretation as the words say, as the words are. You don't need to go beyond it.
No underlining meanings.
So the meaning of shall have been simply means that before you are applying, before you are a member of that federation of trade union, you are a member of another trade union.
Okay.
So if you have left, if you had been a member of trade union before and you left and you are no longer affiliated to any other trade union, then you are no longer affiliated to any trade union.
Okay.
God bless you.
Does that satisfy the different narrative? Shall have been. There is no way you will tie the rope of a trade union to a federation where that trade union says we are no longer interested in this federation.
Particular. Okay.
They have a right to withdraw, and if they withdraw, they are no longer members or affiliates of any trade union. And at that point, they have satisfied this sub-paragraph.
Exactly.
All right,
and may I help you?
go ahead.
The lawyer is completely correct in his analysis. The United Labour Congress of Nigeria has met all the requirements, for registration. But the Federal Ministry of Labour is in playing politics with it. Our application went to the federal government, to the Ministry of Labour, January. And we know that there are civil service rules that says that once an application goes to, something is filed within the federal civil service. Within 3 months, if it is not denied registration, then that particular application is deemed to be successful.
Okay.
But let's leave that on one side. 2, that same subsection they are quoting, if you go to that law, it says that any union that has filed in an application shall operate. Once you file an application, you shall operate, whether registered or not. But can do all things that unions do, provided it will show sufficient reason to show that what it is doing is to help it to achieve registration. That is the law. Provided you can prove that what you are doing is done to assist you to pursue your registration. For Christ's sake, that is an open check. The law has recognized that a union exists before it applies. And that is why also that same law makes room.
You must have proven yourself, worthy of that.
It's in existence.
Okay, but let's look at the legality of this particular strike. It's a strike, because the Minister of Labour and Employment has described this particular strike in strong terms as an economic sabotage.
I think that the Federal Ministry of Labour are the ones that are sabotaging the economy. The laws governing what we do is clear. If there is a dispute, what do? You give a notice of a dispute, which we did about 2 months ago, which we did to the federal government. And they ignored it on the advice of Ayuba and Bobo Kaigama. They ignored it. We issued a 14-day ultimatum, which is in keeping with the laws governing industrial relations space in Nigeria. And they ignored it. They only made half-hearted attempts to reach out to us. And then when that expired, we called an organ of our federation and we met. And the organ said the response of the federal government via the letter they wrote to us was not sufficient. And because of that, we issued a final 7-day notice of strike. And that expired. And they didn't do anything. Moreover, the federal government is saying he does not recognize the UFC. Yet, last Thursday, the same Ngige wrote to us, to the people he does not recognize. He wrote to us, inviting us to nominate our members to the National Minimum Wage Negotiation Committee, which is one of our demands. He is also the one that wrote us to submit the names of our people who went to represent us, of which I was one of them, that went to ILO as part of federal government delegation. These are people he does not recognize. Ngige knows the law. He knows the law, and they are the ones that are sabotaging the economy. If if you know the law and you are not willing to apply the law, and the economy is in jeopardy, you are the one that should be held responsible, not the one that are responding to what you have done.
All right, Mr. Onyeka, it's still Galaxy today. We're looking at the ULC strike. Plus, when we return from this quick break, we'll just take a quick trip to Ibadan, where the APC public hearing will be holding in just a bit. We'll just try to talk to some people on the show, and of course, we'll conclude on the labor strike.
Welcome back. All right, we're still looking at the ongoing ULC nationwide strike, and we still have Barrister Ikechukwu Ikeji and Comrade Chris Onyenka with us in the studios today. Justin.
Yeah, before we continue with the discussion, we are going straight now to Ibadan, where the All Progressives Congress is currently having a public hearing on restructuring. We're being joined live by Chief Tokunbo Ajasi. Good morning to you, sir. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today. All right, we understand that the public hearing is about commencing, and you'll be presenting a paper today specifically on the restructuring. What is your stand as regards the restructuring that has been on the mouth of almost every Nigerian in recent time?
Well, unfortunately, there's so much noise here, I can hardly hear you properly. Can you repeat again, please?
If you can hear me, Chief, we're looking at restructuring right now, and we understand that the All Progressives Congress is presently holding a stakeholders meeting to get some reactions as regards some people's view on this restructuring. Can you tell us what exactly your stand is as regards this restructuring? All right, we'll try and reconnect with Ibadan in the course of the show.
Okay, let's come back to the studios and continue with the strike. Now, Barrister Ikeji, now the federal government has, of course, accused the ULC of blackmail. And we have not had it this good in a long time. And really? they also described the body as attention seeking.
So before we just continue,
okay,
I think
we're back?
getting signals from
Ibadan. Okay, we'll come back to that.
All right, once again, Chief Ajasi, can you give us your stance specifically as regards restructuring of Nigeria? Hello, if you can hear me, Chief Ajashi, can we know your stand as regards restructuring of the country?
Well, we have a program here where we are presenting the Yoruba position, the Yoruba agenda to the APC committee. To the APC Committee on True Federalism. That's why we are here at the International Conference Center at the University of Ibadan.
Specifically, okay, we're still having issues connecting with Ibadan. Let's just continue.
We'll go back to that. Yeah. All right, so I was talking about the federal government accusing the ULC of blackmail, and they described the body as attention-seeking, alleging that it was capitalizing on the unstable security and industrial relations situation currently in the country to increase tension and also give trade unionism a bad name. As a lawyer, I would like you to actually react to that.
Well, as a lawyer, it will be very difficult for me to react to that in the sense that there is no art to find the construction of a man's mind on his face, except
Shakespeare.
Except by what he does. Oliver Wendell Holmes, for us lawyers. You see, there is no way I'd be able to know what the government has behind or what has transpired between them and the ULC that is not available to the public. So it is difficult for me to say who between them, two of them, is sabotaging the economy or is seeking for necessary attention. But I think, in all honesty, as someone who has been involved in civil society for a long time, that I see a lot of genuineness in the ULC. I have been on the streets severally, and most of them are people I see on the streets when we are engaging in civil protests. To that extent, I would not say that they are, for example, my friend here sitting here, I've seen him countless times on the streets on behalf of the masses, on behalf of the people. So it would be difficult for me to say that his actions now I want to be subjective towards him. His actions now will amount to seeking for attention or blackmail. I think it will be too far. And I would want to say again clearly that I stand against the government. Yes, because this government, and in fact, most governments of Nigeria, I can't remember the one that has more respect to human beings. They have been potentially blackmailers of the citizenry. Today, as soon as you start opposing this government, the first thing they will tell you, they will call you is corruption, looters, supporter of looters. Just recently, they have said that IPOB is being sponsored by treasury looters. So, I think that this government has an infamous tag. They are infamous, they are notorious for negative propaganda. They tag you so as to destroy you once you are not in alignment with them. And I am not now saying also that the government may not have good intentions. We must separate the two. In this situation now that is resulting in this strike, it is left for the government to come out with its good intentions. But I am standing against the government of today because it's a government of propaganda. It depends a whole lot on giving negative name to people who stand in opposition to it. And by naming ULC blackmailers or seeking attention, they have merely justified my impression.
Okay.
So I believe that ULC is not blackmailing the government. Their requests, I have seen some of their requests, are genuine. The fact that they are not registered by government or recognized by government should not delegitimize, remove the genuineness, the validity of what they are asking for.
All right, we'll come back and talk about the modalities of the strike.
Let's just quickly see if we can connect once again to Ibadan. We are being joined by the Secretary of APC in Oyo State, Mojid Olaoya, to speak on the town hall meeting or the public hearing going on in Ibadan as regards restructuring of the country. Good morning to you, Mr. Olaoya. Can you bring us up to speed as regards the public hearing right now? Hello, can you hear me? Let me just repeat that question. Good morning, Mr. Olaoya. Can you bring us up to speed as regards the public hearing on the restructuring right now? What is happening at the moment? Hello, if you can hear me once again, what is happening? Can you bring us up to speed as regards the public hearing the APC is organizing on restructuring?
Progressive Congress in Oyo State. We gathered here today as a party, people. We are here today at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan, and we are here for a purpose. And the purpose is to discuss on the true federalism. Through federalism, regionalism, devolution of powers and resource control as one of those things that were used during the campaign time of All Progressive Congress. And our party from the national has taken it up as a responsibility that they must fulfill their promises to the public, to the generality of the people. And in view of that, they deem it necessary, necessary to gather people here today. And the gathering here today involves the Lagos State, the 3 states, Lagos State, Oyo State, and Ogun State. It is Oyo State that is hosting this program today at the International Conference Center, UI Ibadan here. The idea is to invite the public. The idea is to invite the public to discuss, submit a memorandum on their views on the idea of true federalism, devolution of powers, regionalism, and the resource control. In other words, people of integrity, people of interest who are agitating for a very long time on what we call the federalism, that is, or the true federalism. They are here today to discuss on it and to submit their memoranda or memorandum. That is the purpose to which we are here today. And we believe towards the end of the program, we will have reached a conclusion. We will have reached a communique and will have concluded on the position of the public with the party promises during our campaign period. And that will be taken into consideration for necessary action. That is, at least for now, that is the reason why we are here today. I will believe towards the end of the program, or at the end of the program, we shall have an opportunity to harmonize and align the public views and opinion to the party promises, that is the All Progressive Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was Honorable Mojeed Olaoya, the chairman of Oyo APC, bringing us up to speed as regards the public hearing on the restructuring being organized by the All Progressives Congress.
Okay. All right, we just had to do that because that's currently ongoing, so it's news. Okay, comrade, let's look at the issues, you know, that you're protesting. What are the modalities really of this strike?
The issues are very clear. Talking about the issues are mainly that governance ought not, the governance spaces ought not to be militarized, including the workplaces. Our members are affected in the different factories. I'm talking about factories now. Okay. You have garrisons, you know, military garrisons in the factories, and they use these military men and policemen to intimidate workers. Employers use them to intimidate workers. It means that workers are working under siege. That you cannot say anything that is contrary to the what the employer wants. There is no freedom in our workplaces. And all we have said is that the federal government should do the right thing. Ban the use of army and police in our workplaces so that our workplaces will be safer.
But then again, do you think
that is one.
The public and the masses that the ULC is fighting for actually follows your ideology? Because right now, when there's a polarity between labor unions in Nigeria, I mean, I don't see this unity, I don't see this strong stance on it. Do you think that the masses actually believe?
You see, there is no polarity in the labor movement. If you understand what he was saying, the comrade here, was saying, it is clear. We're not talking about personalities. Okay. Unions from TUC, current unions in TUC and NLC, their general secretaries were calling me since yesterday. I've been in discussions with them. They say, write us officially, we want to join you. The labor movement is one, but personalities could differ. That does not mean there is polarity. We are all the same people. We have the same consciousness, the same working class consciousness in us. And we know what we are suffering. We suffer the same fate.
But then again, from the world,
so they know.
Why was there a need to pull out of an NLC in the first instance?
We did not say pulling out of an NLC. United Labour Congress of Nigeria is made up of unions that were partly in TUC, NLC, and unions that were neither in TUC nor NLC. So ULC, that's why I say United Labour Congress of Nigeria. ULC is a new labor center that is not a faction of anybody. And people will come and paint these pictures just to blackmail us and hoodwink the public. It is not true. The truth is that there is a need, okay, for ULC at this particular point in time to revive the trade union movement in Nigeria. If not, in the next 5 to 10 years, the trade union movement will become extinct, and no Nigerian will listen to anything coming out from that particular place. And since ULC came, you will find out that there is a revival. People are beginning to take notice. Those on the other side are beginning to work hard to at least listen to the people. And so the ULC is a platform that each time has come. And there is nothing anybody does that can stop it.
Let me come in here. I think the government is playing this game deliberately. Yeah. There is this Machiavellian principle of power that portends that if you are the head of an organization, put differing tongues amongst your subordinates so that everything will work out for you. It's a management principle. It's an evil management principle. Perhaps that is the approach the federal government.
We saw that play out in the NLC, when it became factionalized and
just
all
like
of that.
you see. Now, my brother, I meet him on the streets a lot. With due respect to them, the last fuel increase, not the last one. Okay, let me start from January 2012. Okay. We were on the streets with him. But the last one, he came to the street. The last one, just last year, when this present government increased to 145. He was in the street. But at that top there, you recall that Ayuba Awaba faction was with the people. Recall?
I do.
Ayuba Awaba called out the labor that we should go on strike in opposition, that they should go on strike in opposition to the increase in fuel price and to the removal of subsidy. But the Joe Ajero faction, which is this ULC, aligned with the government. That time the government worked with it. The government worked with the ULC that time and said that the Labour Congress has called off the strike.
I recall.
You recall?
Remember, yes.
Yes, Joe Ajero said, he's my brother, very, very good brother, said that they are not part of the strike, and that pulled the rug. It removed the sail from the wind of that agitation that time. So what we are seeing is a situation where the government is playing politics with the labor.
Okay.
And so let us also make clarifications concerning what happened, my brother. You see, at that level, at like the top you were trying to describe, what really happened was that that faction of a nation at that particular point in time did not dissociate itself from that particular struggle. But Ayuba, when Joe Ajero and Achesi Igwe and our group were in the chambers to meet collectively as the trade union movement, TUC was there. All of us were there. And immediately Ayuba came in and saw us seated. He said, I will not be involved in this negotiation if these people are there.
That's true.
And so if your brother is denying you, your brother says you're not my brother, I will not be part of you, what do you do? We said, okay, no problem. So that people will not watch our dirty leniency in public. We stay aside. You go ahead and do what you want to negotiate with government.
So that was an internal crisis.
Yes, he negotiated with government. Okay. We negotiated with government. With TUC. TUC couldn't have been stupid. And they begged, they pleaded with him. He said no. So we cannot, you see, I believe in the principle of the working class consciousness, which is the basis on which you operate. And anything that undermines it undermines my credibility and my integrity.
All right,
very quickly before we just get that, let me just take this one quickly. This one is from Kaduna. Timothy is reacting. Timothy Aremu, he's saying, from the look of things, the NLC has compromised and the Nigeria workers are suffering for that. The coming up on board of ULC is a welcome development that will do the workers a lot of good and reward for their labor.
Okay, now based on history, we know how strikes usually go in Nigeria, and when things like this happen, the masses suffer for it.
Yes,
because we're talking about, a boycott in terms of transportation, electricity,
Fuel.
you know, yes, the almighty
main
fuel.
thing, really.
Fuel affects even the tomato seller in the market.
Absolutely.
So the prices of food stuff will also go up, and the masses will suffer greatly from all this. And what we see at the end of the day is the masses themselves, whose interest you are trying to propagate, will begin to call for a truce.
Let me come in there. Sorry,
know,
before
so-
you land.
okay.
Sorry. You see, that is a point that we miss a lot.
Exactly.
That is a point that we miss a lot. Is government not aware that if these people are pushed to the wall and they go on strike, that these things will happen?
God bless you.
So why would the government adopt an extremist position that they will not negotiate with these people or even discuss with them or even say that they don't recognize them, knowing that this is what would happen? In other words, these people are labor workers. They are fighting for their own labor interest. Now, it's a corporate subjectiveness, corporate subjective interest, enlightened self-interest, corporately speaking, not individually speaking. So as long as what they are doing would help advance their own corporate interest, they go ahead and do it. It is left for the government that has sworn to provide social welfare and security to the citizenry to ensure that such things are averted. And that is why we must always put the responsibility on the government. I believe that the government should be... There are certain professions, like the medical doctor's profession, that the Hippocrates oath prevents them from doing certain things. Perhaps when it gets to medical doctors, you can start looking at to what extent have they been going on strike, affect disrespected their Hippocratic oath. That is where you can now start weighing the two options. But in this kind of option where there is availability of option of negotiation, dialogue, the government, in my view, should open the dialogue and stop the strike. Okay, let's continue to talk. There's no end to this negotiation. Sorry to have cut you
Okay, but
short.
then again, this is day one of the strike. In the coming days, what are we saying? A total shutdown?
Yeah.
Is it like a warning strike for a 7-day? Or what exactly are we
Is
expecting?
there a time
It
frame?
is not, there is no time frame.
So it's indefinite.
It's all going to continue as long as the federal government remains recalcitrant. We will continue. As the days go by, it bites deeper or harder and harder. And it's unfortunate. The government says, we are not going to negotiate with you directly. We don't recognize you. But they recognize that we are not registered. JOHESU, the Joint Health Sector Union, is not registered. But they are negotiating with them. They are negotiating. They sit down and negotiating. It's not a registered body. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of others are still not registered and they're negotiating with them. The fact is that, like we said, when they were making all the noise, we said, oh, no, there is no problem. When we get to the field, we will know who the masses recognize. We will know who the workers recognize. Now that it has come to a situation where Ayuba and Bobo Kaigama will go and sit down with the government and become more government mouthpiece, it's unfortunate. It's a shame. Really a shame.
Okay, so because of our time, quickly, gentlemen, at the end of the day, what are we hoping to happen?
We must get government to listen to Nigerian workers and Nigerian masses. They govern us. They must listen to us. They must do our bidding. We are the employers, and they must listen to our desires and our interests. And until they do so, we are not going to go back to work.
I support non-violent social revolution. I support civil disobedience. Most changes, good changes in history, have resulted from civil disobedience. Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, a whole lot of those great guys, Martin Luther King, a whole lot of those guys, they are preachers of civil disobedience for the purpose of common societal good. So I am thinking that we need not allow the masses to suffer. And I am thinking that the government need not immediately say, okay, all your demands, we agree. But let's start talking.
Let's come to a reasonable, solution.
Shift your strike. Let's now start talking and see. For example, payment of salaries of workers by governors. It's something that can be addressed proactively.
Yes.
It can be addressed by a conference where every relevant stakeholder is available, is present, and everybody will see clearly that there is a proactive action geared towards ensuring that worker salaries are paid. Some
Okay.
of these actions will
All right,
help.
this is much as
yes,
we can
avert the
take. We
problem.
are actually completely out of time. This is what we rested on the show today. Pat?
Okay. Yeah, the United Labour Congress, ULC, has today commenced on a nationwide strike, and the union is downing their tools over the failure of the government to register the union, failure to address ASU issues, deplorable state of Nigerian roads, minimum wage increase, amongst other demands. And our guest in the studios has been Barrister Ikechukwu Ikeji. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you so much.
And Comrade Chris Oyenka. Thank you. He's with
Thank
the
you
ULC.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. We hope to be back